the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris. Hey!
Good morning, friends and enemies. Of course, good morning to the good people and to the bad people. And a good morning, boom shakalaka to all of you out there. I am the Uncanny Chris Base, and this is BaseLine. We do this every Saturday now, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time, and of course, Pacific Time is just way too early for 5 a.m. Always wanting to be well where you are. And so let me get things straightened up here, and I think we're doing okay. So, all right. Not too shabby. Hold on. Let me get that there. All right. Almost look good enough to be seen. Happy Saturday morning greetings to you, Barbara Jean. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, man. Oh, so one rule. It's just very simple. One rule. I don't ask for much. You know me as a humble host. One rule that I have. That's one. No peep freaks. Hashtag PEEPFREAKS. Make my peep a peep freak. No. Peep freaks are people who look at me and again embrace. You just saw the introduction there about me being the bronze god. And that's been going on for a long time now. And I learned to accept it. So when other people look at me, they just say, oh man, he is the bronze god. I'm about to faint. And they usually faint, and that's what happens. So as I told you before, I am a humble bronze god. So I pick them up, dust them off, and say, dust off your shoulder. There you go, and you'll be all right. And then once they do that, they either stick or stay here in the program, or they go about their merry way. And they say, hey, Base, it was good to be in your presence. It was nice, she's beautiful. And then there you go. Peep freaks need love too. No, look, of course they do, Barbara Jean. Of course they do. That's what I provide. I do. Oh, help. And hooker whores also need love. No, hold on a second now. They get into a whole different category here about the hooker whores. Hooker whores, they don't need love, they need money. And I understand it because that's their job to be hooker whores, and that's what they do. But from the standpoint of the constant barraging back and forth, when they come after me, when they get on their tirades and try to look at me like, that's an easy mark. So let me like all of his photographs. Like I said, for example, look down the bottom of your screen. Make sure you call in if you are so bold at 312-597-2106. The Instagram, I am the Base. And also make sure when you're on this YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. We'll keep on having that at the bottom of the screen there on the scroll and the ticker. So get out the way. So when you go back to the hooker whores are on the road to make money. I don't begrudge anybody getting their bag. And if you are on your knees and you're not praying, or you're imitating to be a dog or something like that, there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever you do in the comfort and privacy of your own bedroom and home, or whoever the hooker whore's home or room that they're in, nothing wrong with that. I don't like when they come after me. And so I mentioned about my gram, right? So especially now, see, the hooker whore thing. In fact, as a matter of fact, hold on, let me do this again. I want everybody to understand what I go through. So I'm gonna play this again. But I want you to understand what I go through. Now here we go. Now, let's take a look at this. I'll get back to you on the side.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary.
That's enough of that. We got the rest all right. Okay, so you get my point. So not only did I take people and send them back to hell where they belong, I had started myself. I took the butter knife and did dominoes to get rid of hooker whores. Now, when I was doing my show on Facebook Live in particular, the algorithm of hooker whores would go in streaks like any other algorithm. And so when the algorithm of hooker whores started to come over to Instagram, as you know, it's all connected with Facebook and Instagram, they stopped on Facebook. They stopped leaving me alone on Facebook. And so that was me. And nothing to do with them. That was me. Now, all of a sudden, they're back to come after me on the IG. So I have to let them know that, look, this is not going to happen. And so what they do, of course, they see as an easy mark, which I am not. And then they look at me, oh, man, we're going to see if we can get some money out of this fat dude. And so then they go from there. It's just for shame. For shame. When that happens, they ought to be really ashamed of themselves, but they had no shame whatsoever. Hooker whores usually do not. So having said all that, when you are able to sort them off, as I do, that they come back for more. They just, I don't know, not for that, mind you. They come back because I guess they figure, well, we can continue to wear him down. And not like that either. But they do. So what can I say? It's it bothers me, but it's the never-ending battle between me and the hordes of hookers. So I'm gonna try something real quick. So if you are there, hang on. You know me, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So I'm gonna try something real quick as they to see if I get a little more traction. So I meant to do this earlier, but I was getting everything together for the program. So let me see here. Walking down the street, listening to this. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hold on a second. Okay. So again, as we continue on to make this thing happen from the standpoint of coming over here to YouTube and doing this, and I reiterate for those of you who are new to the channel, I've had this account for a long time, and I decided to now activate it because before I just wasn't in the mindset to do it. A lot of personal things going on in my life, including family, and I've always believed in timing and everything. So when I felt better and there was some downtime and everything got to some point of normalcy, then you just go on and go from there. So again, I thank you all for joining me in this new venture. And remember, spread the word to your friends and enemies, mostly your enemies, because your enemies might listen to you more than your friends do. Let them know that BaseLine is in the air Saturday mornings. They'll find my page here, and make sure, once again, you subscribe, like, and share. I remember when I was working with Lee and the crew back in the Thursday night show when we were doing Six Guys and You, and I remember becoming the the moderator, pro temp. That's right, Barbara Jean. That's right. Family first. Absolutely. She knows. She understands. So, and all of you do too. So it's a matter of your priorities. But when you're able to get back to other things that you had, you put on the shelf, you put on hold. Now you can go back and do it. And this was one of the ideas that I've been sitting on for a good long time. To be honest with you, not to be maudlin about it, but yes. So let me see here. Okay. Okay. Hold on. So let's see. Yeah, I wish I would sit back and say that I'm one of those great multitasking people. I am not. I had to take my time because That's how the mind of the base man works. Okay, hold on. So again, when you look at how life is, and sometimes you can't force anything. Sometimes it comes to you naturally, and I definitely believe that. I definitely do. I first, yeah. I set an alarm. Yeah, you look. I do too. If it had not been for alarms, I wouldn't be here right now. Ooh wee. Hold on. You know what I can't stand when you're typing on your phone like I'm doing and had that damn spell check, and it's not what you wanted. It's like, okay, we're going to check it whether you like it or not. Mr. Barbara Jean, last week I was an hour early. Yeah, you got to get that time zone taken care of. Let's see. And good morning, Lisa London. How you doing, Lisa? Thank you so much for being here. Lisa London, good morning to the Base Nation. And she does it very effectively. That's right, Barbara Jean. That's right. Yay, Lisa's here. I totally agree. Yay. Yay, yay. Now the fun will begin. Okay. Do this. This should do it. Okay, let's try that. What's it, Barbara Jean? Spell check autocorrect sucks. Yeah, it sucks in the swallows. It gets on my nerve. And I'm like, I don't have none of things get on my nerve. I don't need that. But it happens. It's like, that's not the word I wanted. And you don't look like a moron when you type this stuff, man. It's like, leave me the hell alone. Let me type the way I want to type. I'm not hurting anybody. Remember Ebonics? Remember that? Yeah, that's like it is. It's like Ebonical. Jeez. Gets on my last one, but it is what it is, as they say, but still it's stupid. I know they mean well, but it doesn't. What is he drinking in his cup, pray tell? Well, pray tell, I'll tell you. Tell pray. This is coffee. I don't usually drink coffee. I'm usually a tea person, teetotaler, as they say. But someone told me to get some coffee this morning, and I did. And not bad. I can see why I'm not on it. It's very good. It's just basic coffee, cream, and sugar. But if I was on it all the time, oh yeah, I'd be jacked up, Doc. You wouldn't know what to do with me, man. I'm telling you, I'll just put him in the corner, let him suck his thumb, put a shawl over his shoulders because he needs to calm the hell down. And I can see obviously why people drink this. I remember my dad drinking coffee. My mom still drinks coffee right to this day. Drinks a lot of coffee. Not to stand, but she's like jittery, not like that. But that's been her morning tradition, like most people's morning tradition. And would drink coffee, Maxwell House in particular, and some sugar and some cream. Uh-oh. Yes, Barbara Jean. Coffee say what? Yeah. Ah. And of course, Lisa says hello to Barbara Jean. Yes, Barbara Jean, it's coffee. Yeah, say what? Say what? It's say what coffee. So I said my mom drinks it, and I decided to just go with something different, which is out of the ordinary for me. So I figured I'd go on and just give it a shot and see what happens. So once again, I understand it completely. I understand the coffee craze. Hell, look at Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts and anything else you can get that has coffee to it, iced coffee, hot, medium, and stuff like that. Yeah. Barbara Jean, I love coffee. I really drink tea. See, I'm the opposite. I really drink coffee, but I love tea. Really do I drink it? It's very rare. Rare like steak. But it happens. So yeah. So once again, you got to change up sometimes, but they're not. I get it. Again, it's very delicious. Mama would drink both coffee and tea. Well, see, your mother's a smart person, man. Mama don't play. Mama don't take no mess. So coffee today, boys and girls, and not too shabby. I'm very cool with that. Absolutely. And let's see, what else we got here, Barbara Jane? Yeah, if I was a coffee drinker, I would say so too. I mean, like anything else, you're able to do that because of the marketing and how you're able to transcend the stock market. So that's what I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but just stating it for the obvious. Yeah, if I was a coffee drinker, I wouldn't even probably stop drinking Starbucks and just do my own thing and create my own coffee. Even to the point where you've seen the coffee containers where you can have your own and then have your own cardboard ring, if you like, as Starbucks has now been famous for. So what can I say? Not too shabby, but yeah, I decided to change up, and I would, if I had to pick between the two, I would go for tea. But there you go. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Let's see. Their coffee isn't that good. See, well, you would know because you're the coffee expert. If people out there in the comment section who love coffee, please let us know. And if you do drink Starbucks, I mean, is it that good? Barbara Jean says coffee isn't that good. Maybe it used to be good, but then when you branch out and become nationwide, or dare I say worldwide, usually what happens from my experiences when stuff goes global or even national, they'll find a way to cheapen the product when it comes to ingredients. And that was about cutbacks. We got cut back on this. Well, this is the formula that we have reviewed. No. The hell with that. Take that out and let's put in goat's milk. We don't use goat's milk. No. But tell you what, people won't know the difference. It's milk. But we use cow. No. If we use goats and rat milk, they'll never find out. I'll get milk from a rat. Don't worry about that. I'll take care of that later. Don't you ask me any damn questions at this meeting. I'll take care of the milk. You take care of distribution. But we use goat coke. How can you give it? I'll take care of that, Fred. Don't start none, won't be none. Don't worry where I get this milk from. That's cool beans. Literally. Yeah, man. So when I do my Enter the Boom Shakalaka, you catch that every Friday on Snowman in the Morning, hosted by Brian Snow, Cole Johnson, and Wysdale Hefe. And my segment comes on 11:35 a.m. Eastern, 10:35 a.m. Central Time. And I mentioned before about change, and change has been on my mind now for a month. I want to say around mid-August to where we are now currently. And it's my birthday month, as you know, which I celebrated tremendously. And I take this time to thank all of you online for coming out in droves. No matter what birthday I've had since being online like others, I'm always humbled by the people who come out and say happy birthday to me, just like anybody else. And so, let's see, it was over 420 people that I counted. And I'm like, I actually know these people. That's what gets me every year I see it. And the relationship you forge in life, you forget some of the people you run into because it's like out of sight, out of mind. And you go your way and they go theirs. But man, I was like, I forgot how many people I've known over the time. And then you wonder about trying to reconnect with some people. Don't be wrong. Some people got to stay in the past. Yeah, and they know who they are. But I at least say the majority of the people I've seen that wish me a happy birthday, once again, from the bottom, thank you so much. for doing that. And once again, it makes not only the 1/4 of my Native American heart sore, but my whole heart. And let me do this real quick. I'll be right back. It won't take too long. Hang on. And I'm back. Let's see. I want to give a shout out to one of my former students. And I was going to do this before with other students, but I just have to discipline myself and do it and just have a show where I can have former students on from no matter where I taught at. And I'll tell you the story because hold on, let me right back. I got to take care of this real quick. So my man Arturo, who, if you listen to WVON on the Kendall Moore show, also does a sports show, go by the name of Turbine. And I'll share this story with you. So when I was teaching at Illinois Media School, and I was teaching talk radio, Turbine, well, Arturo, as I know him, but Turbine was one of my students at the time before he went to VOM. And he's a tech producer over there and on-air talent. But before that, he was one of my students. And he would drive out from Waukegan to come into downtown Chicago to be a part of his classes. And the majority of the time, now, although he was always late. Always late. But when he came into class, he'd knock out the in-class assignments. He's one of the people that everybody's learning curve obviously is different, but I didn't have to tell him all. He got it and just went in there and just took care of business. So that became an ongoing thing. And now, mind you, it's a 9-month course. So every month it will be different students. So say you start in November, you would call the November class and December class and such forth. So his class was there for the 4 weeks, and I told him, "Well, why are you late all the time?" "Well, Mr. Bates, I got to drive in from Waukegan. I get caught in traffic and everything else. So I'm sorry." I said, "You got to leave out earlier." I understand about the distance. I drove out to Waukegan myself one time for a radio interview, and it's a radio job interview. It's a hike. I ain't gonna sit there in front, but you got to get here on time. So, unbeknownst to me, I mean, he tried, but it just wasn't going anywhere. So at the end of the week of the course for that month, traditionally he was supposed to get a D. I was going to give him an F. They told us don't give out any Fs, but he deserved the F. But I could not deny the fact that he could come into the classroom and knock out all the assignments. So we had the finals, and then I gave him a C. And I said, "Let me tell you why I'm giving you the C. Even though you don't deserve it, I'm going to tell you why I'm giving you the C. You have potential, strong potential, Arturo, but you got to start you got to be here on time. Whether it's here or a job in the future, you just have to buckle down and do it." And the more I talked to him about it, I think it was really settling into his mind that you got to be here on time. And so even though this is ending, for your future, your job or anywhere else, get there on time. So we fast forward about a couple of years after that point, and I'm at WVON, about to be a guest on the Kendall Moore show on a Friday night. Kendall Moore show happens every Friday evening at 6 p.m. WVON, check it out. Very good program. And who do I see outside of Kendall and his crew? Arturo. Hugs me tightly, and I hug him back. And he said, "Mr. Bates, good to see you, man." And you know when someone genuinely wants to, see you again or has thought about you, and you know how it is. And so after we embraced, he thanked me for doing that solid for him about maybe a year, maybe 2 years prior to that. Robin Lewis, who is the afternoon anchor at WVON, told me and put me to the side, "Chris, he's never late." Man, that went all through me. And even when I told them the story, because Kendall did not know that we knew each other and the crew and everything else, and I told, this is my man right here. So when Arturo told his side of the story about what had happened, you just never know who you're going to affect. You just never know. And it's beyond but hold on, I got to sneeze. I don't want to sneeze in front of y'all. So hold on one second. Let's see. Be right back. Yeah, but I don't want to sneeze. I don't do all that in front of y'all. So again, thank you for understanding. So again, going back to the story about Arturo, it made me feel good just doing things like you just never know who are you impacting. Now, I'll share this with you. I thought I got to a point where I was attracting crazy people. From the standpoint of people that I was trying to help, was trying to mentor, was trying to listen to, and then I realized that they have some serious mental problems. And I thought, well, maybe I just attract people with mental problems. I mean, I'm not saying against anybody with mental problems, mind you. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it just seemed to be an ongoing thing at one point, and I feel for these people, but at the same time, it's like, what kind of person am I to attract these people? And my sister Tiffany, who's a kind of public school teacher, she had the same thing, and we came to the conclusion that my sister Tiffany and myself in our family, we take time to listen to people. And that's the one attribute that I'm very proud of myself of having over the years is listening to people. And being a talk show host, you need that in particular to listen. But if you don't listen, because some people just half-ass listen. Hey man, my foot's on fire. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to hear that right now. But yeah, I gotta go to the doctor. Yeah. That's all right. Your feet, man, my foot's on fire. Yeah. A lion's biting my foot off. I don't want to hear about that right now. Yeah, right. You'll be all right. So people in general just half-ass listen to begin with, but I think others who take time out to listen to people, because I think, again, I said before, you just want to have some sort of acknowledgement that somebody's listening to them. And that goes a long way, I believe, from my experiences talking to people over time. I would want somebody to listen to me, obviously, but again, I'm not going to ruin the friendship or possibility of a friendship from time to time. And again, I think with certain people, they don't realize that they're doing the most. They don't realize they're doing the most. And usually what happens is, if you're saying to yourself, well, that ain't me, I don't do the most, 9 out of 10 times you're doing the most. God love you. And God bless your ministries. But God damn you love. It does get to a point where you must realize that you could be the problem. And it's just like any other person. And I'm not different. I'm just saying when, for example, I hung on to every word of my mentors had told me. And of course, the God rest both their souls. Ty Wansley and Jay Marvin. We lost Jay this year. And being close to them and listening to them. Again, the blueprint that I was trying to create for my own self. And there should be a respect factor that's there. Now, once again, that's me. I can't speak for anybody else who is in the role of the mentee. But I think what happens is certain people may not want to hear everything the mentor is saying. Now, if the mentor is giving you bad advice, that's different. And you have every right to pick and choose what you want to listen to from said mentor, he or she. Me, I took it differently. What they were saying to me was valuable information that you cannot put into a price tag, like the old MasterCard commercial, priceless. It was very priceless. And but you have to understand why hell I had to understand that when you become Obi-Wan Kenobi and you have mentees, not all mentees are gonna be the same. They're not gonna be like you. I didn't expect them to be like me. Obviously, I don't believe in that, but I thought there was gonna be a common thread of the mentor-mentee relationship. And come to find out that it was not. So when that common thread became different, and me just trying to understand these people from time to time, it was a daunting task, to say the very least. But when I go back to the story of Arturo, now known as Turbine on WVON, I'm extremely proud of him. Extremely. And just the fact that, again, you never know who you impact. You never know who you're going to have that on a person or persons. So I had to hold my own feet to the fire and do the reunion show of my former students from whatever era I taught them. So in reverse order, it will be Illinois Media School, where I taught talk radio. And then years before that, when I went to my alma mater, back to my alma mater, Columbia College Chicago, and taught basic like radio control board, and then co-taught talk radio. My good friend Cheryl Langston, who I'm going to have on CBI, and I'll bring that back, have her on as a guest. We always get a kick out of the fact that here's two black people rewriting the curriculum for talk radio, teaching all these white kids, the majority white at the time. And we always got a kick out of that. We're not racist, obviously, we just got a kick out of that. And so before that, I was the news director and instructor from the standpoint of teaching news was concerned at WKKC, Kennedy King College. And so I was at Kennedy King College for 2 years, from 98 to 2000. So you see what I'm saying? So I would like to, and I did reach out to some of my former students. I put it on social media to see who would bite. So I would like to do that, just as a reunion of all of us. So of course it's a Free Your Mind Saturday. Please type in the conversation there in the peanut gallery what you want to talk about, or if you're so bold and so daring, which I know some of you are, call in at 312-597-2106. Again, 312-597-2106. Also, IG, I am the base on Instagram. And of course, make sure on this YouTube channel you subscribe, like, and share. The Pennsylvania prison tower guard who did not see or report the escape of convicted killer Danilo Cavalcanti 9 days ago has been fired. A massive manhunt involving hundreds of officers is underway for Cavalcanti, who is still on the run despite a growing number of reported sightings. We can confirm that the corrections officer on duty when Danilo Cavalcanti escaped was terminated yesterday afternoon. This was from a source told CNN. He was a 18-year veteran of the prison. No more job for you. Cavalcanti broke out of the Chester County Prison on October 31st by crab walking between two walls, scaling a fence, and traversing crossing razor wire. I don't know how the hell he did that. He pulled more people in through the night last night, some additional help from our other agencies, from our own agency itself, Pennsylvania State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, we told reporters yesterday. We have got somewhere north of 350, close to 400 people on this day today as we speak. The fugitives escaped from the prison about 30 miles west of Philadelphia, has rattled nearby residents and inflicted fear among his victims and grieving families. And more sightings of Cavalcanti have been reported, including about 8 or 9 credible sightings, Bevins said yesterday as well. At least 3 sightings were made in or around Longwood Gardens, about 3 miles from the prison. One from a trail camera Monday night, another was reported to police around noon Thursday, and a third from a trail camera image Wednesday that wasn't discovered until Thursday evening. Guests were asked to leave the Botanical Gardens Thursday as the entire venue closed for the manhunt. Police swarmed the Botanical Gardens but did not catch the killer. Despite Cavalcante's elusive streak, Bevins said he is confident the fugitive will be caught. We've got a large perimeter secured, he said, and that is a pretty secure perimeter that we can push hard against the tactical team. When asked why the number of officers didn't swell to about 400 until more than a week after the escape, Bivens said the number of the officers can fluctuate. We had as many as we needed for the various operations that we had going on. It doesn't do us any good to bring in all of those resources and pull them from other places because they are not just sitting around with nothing to do. They've got policing functions elsewhere when they are not here. So there's a balance there. We talk about elusive. You and I seen a video of him doing like a reverse Spider-Man up between the two walls there, up and about, and got through the razor wire. So that alone is, I don't know, that fascinates me how he's able to escape and he's on the run. What's going on 2 weeks now? And I know some of the area they were saying that it's just kind of hard to canvas, and with the weather being the way it is and everything else, this is a lot of factors going into it, but maybe it's about 2 weeks. And as I said before in the story, you've seen like a stop picture of him from a camera out in the woods. And there's one story that was on Inside Edition where he actually broke into somebody's house, went to their kitchen and stole food, and then was able to leave after that. So, yeah, and the person who owned the house called the authorities and to go from there. So for him to be that elusive, quote unquote, with the authorities and the manhunt going on and everything else, well, I hope that obviously they find him, not only because of the fact of him escaping from prison, but someone who was a murderer and a killer, obviously. I hope they try to pick up where they left off at, from killing innocent people. So let's see how the authorities do when it comes to him. It just amazes me how he's able to elude them for this amount of time. So your take on that, or anything else you want to talk about as well, on a Free Your Mind Saturday. Cavalcanti, who's 34, was convicted of first-degree murder last month for the 2021 killing of his former girlfriend, 33-year-old Deborah Bradano, in Chester County. Authorities said Cavalcanti stabbed Bradano 38 times in front of her 2 children, who are now in the care of her sister. Cavalcanti is also wanted in a 2017 homicide case in Brazil, his native country. So look at all this going on with him, not only here, but back in his native country of Brazil. Yeah, let's hope they obviously get this guy, because you don't want a killing spree to start. And we don't want that. Let's see here. Jimmy Fallon reportedly apologized to employees of NBC's The Tonight Show hours after a RollingStone.com expose on the late night program's allegedly toxic workplace environment. Rolling Stone has spoken to 16 current and former Tonight Show employees whose allegations against Fallon range from erratic outbursts to direct mistreatment of staffers. Some said they were berated by Fallon in front of their colleagues. Others alleged that they were the recipients of passive-aggressive notes and combative emails about the quality of their work. 8 former employees suggested that Fallon's mood was dependent on whether he was hungover. They also alluded to instances of Fallon showing up to work with alcohol in his breath. Fallon personally denied these rumors that NBC was concerned about his drinking, telling the New York Times in 2017 that he could never do a day-to-day job if I was drinking every day. In a Thursday evening Zoom call with employees, Fallon apologized and said that he did not intend to create that type of atmosphere for the show. 2 people who were on the call told Rolling Stone. It's embarrassing. I feel so bad, Fallon reportedly said. Sorry if I embarrassed you and your family and friends. I feel so bad, I can't even tell you. Fallon's tone on the Zoom call was described as pretty earnest. Rolling Stone expose also spoke to the Tonight Show's revolving door of 9 showrunners in 9 years. That means you got a showrunner once a year, some of whom were accused of inappropriate comments and intimidation. Found in Thursday's Zoom call with employees reportedly hailed current showrunner Chris Miller as a great leader. Miller, who was also on the call, separately emailed the Tonight Show staff to address past allegations of inappropriate behavior at the show. I don't believe what's written is reflective of the overall culture of our extraordinary team that I'm so lucky and proud to work with every day, per Rolling Stone. The place described in the article is not the place I know. So we've seen and heard this before when you go back to, say, when Ellen DeGeneres was on during her time on daytime television. And that's when we heard about the toxic environment there. That's the first person I thought about when I was reading this article. And I could only what it's like to be responsible for the success of an entire program. You are the headliner, your name is out there, and the staff that works with you. So you're also responsible for their livelihoods. And it is shocking to go through 9 showrunners in 9 years. I wouldn't want that record, but that's been reported. And again, because of the show's host, him or her, you got to put up with what they do, the idiosyncrasies and everything else. All these people are not perfect. If you go back to David Letterman and Johnny Carson when they were on, the only person I didn't hear too much about rumblings behind the scene, not too much rumblings, was, say, Arsenio Hall and Conan O'Brien. And not saying that they're perfect either, because they're not, but from an industry standpoint, I just heard great things. And the same with the other people I mentioned. But again, nobody, as I always say, nobody's around here walking on water. So you just got to put up with it. And they mean well, I think, but it's the pressure or whatever is happening in their personal life. And I'll also be concerned if I was Fallon. Apparently, you have a snitch in your staff. So you know who the stitch is. The stitch snitch. What do you want to call it? They're not going to get stitches, mind you, but yeah, somebody's narking on you and your program. To Rolling Stone or others. Now, say for example, TMZ got narcs everywhere. If you're a celebrity, you can't even fart without TMZ knows about it. This is Rolling Stone, mind you, rollingstone.com. So somebody reported to somebody, obviously, and I don't think their arms were twisted, and maybe there's some payment involved. I don't know. But it parallels to the other people I mentioned. David Letterman took it out on his staff at one point, his producer. There you go. It happens. It's not right, but it happens. Paralleling to the whole thing to, say, Ellen DeGeneres. Now, I said this before. I watched Ellen come up through the comedy ranks when she, back in the day on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, if you made Carson, you had a career. And so just like him, just like her, it could say it was Ellen DeGeneres, Tim Allen, Roseanne Barr, those guys and gals in that time. If you made Carson, you got a phone call to your agent about doing something. So having said that, Ellen was no different. Ellen was a very strong type comedian and was able to do the Ellen DeGeneres show on ABC for a while and had mentioned in the episode that she was gay, which she was in real life, but that was one of the first things we saw on television, depending on your timeline, about someone on a sitcom actually saying that they're gay and being gay in real life. If you go back further, ahead, even though it was not gay in real life, Billy Crystal played a character named Jody on Soap, on, once again, ABC. And I think he's on record playing the first TV gay character. But that was a character he played. Now you had someone, you fast forward into the 90s, in Ellen DeGeneres, who was gay in real life, a lesbian. And there you go. And that's a good thing, because I wonder why people come out, and I'd like to talk to someone in due time about why do you come out. Really nobody's business. But I see over the years where people do that, one, for themselves, and also the fact you just never know who you inspire. I remember one time, years ago, I was reading this article about comedian Lily Tomlin. And she came out as lesbian. I'm like, wait a minute, all these years, now you come out about being lesbian? And I get the whole timeline thing, because as we know, gays and lesbians and the like are frowned upon in society, even though now they have a foothold and more accepted. Back in the day, you had to hide that. And once again, nobody's business but your own, unless you make it somebody's business. And then going back to the whole thing with Ellen DeGeneres, with her show. So remember, she had this thing about scaring people, like scaring her guests on the show. Now, once again, this is me. You see certain people do things like, maybe you're a little bit extra doing that. And so, excuse my verbiage, I think she got off literally seeing and scaring people. Then it was alleged, mind you, that behind the scenes, you as an employee of the Ellen Show cannot scare her back. Now, what kind of hell crap is that? I can do it to you, but can't do it to me. That's completely hypocritical. What, you're afraid that somebody gonna scare your gas? That you may jump out of your skin? I can't stand people dishing out and can't take it. So I read that, and even though I was prone to believe it, because a lot of people are just very hypocritical. Do as I say, don't do as I do. So it would not surprise me if that was the truth of the whole thing. Now we get to Jimmy Fallon. The whole thing about Jimmy Fallon is the fact that his honor persona, just like Ellen's was, that's what you market. That's where your money comes in, your bank account, when you're able to market something for people to like. So it's always been this frat boy, good guy type of thing that he comes off as. But again, we don't know what he's going through in his private life. And then to come into work and not have that spill over is not an easy tightrope. Was it, Barbara Jean? I wonder how many of them needed a change of underwear I will say a lot. It was hilarious. It was funny, but I dare you to go back and watch it on YouTube or something like that, and just look at the glee that Ellen had on the whole thing. It wasn't just laughing. It was like, this is my shit. I love this, but don't scare me. I scare you. I didn't. It wasn't funny to me anymore. I put it like that. It was like something else going on, but there's some fuckery afoot. Forgive me for cursing in the morning, but it's the language. There really was. I mean, as me and once again, I followed Ellen since the days of not Dave, but the Tonight Show appearance and further and on. So, as a fan of her work and a fan of her show, I was just getting concerned. This whole scaring thing. And so, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I've worked with talent where in radio, again, whether it's once again, some people good, some people not so good. But it gets to a point where as long as you're the front runner, as long as your name is out there, as long as you're bringing in money, you get away with stuff like that because they coddle you. These networks, they have to because you're the cash cow bringing in that money. So it shouldn't be that way, but it is what it is, as they say. So Jimmy Fallon, not really one of my favorites in the late night game, but I hope for the sake of his crew, for the sake of his staff, that the Zoom apology was serious and that he meant it. As I said before in the article, it said that he was earnest. And you know what I always say, you're just sorry you got caught. But let's make it a teachable moment. And hopefully they can go on and move on and do some great stuff. But I told you what got me was the 9 showrunners in 9 years. And you have a narc on the staff. So, yeah. That's kind of rough, Doctor. Denzel Washington continues to make movie history with The Equalizer 3, which is on track to becoming the second highest opening weekend of all time for a film release on Labor Day weekend. The film pulled in $34.5 million last Friday to Sunday and is expected to top the $42 million mark by the end of the holiday, according to Entertainment Weekly. Its $26.1 million international take through Sunday made for a 3-day global box office of $60.6 million. Equalizer 3 sees Washington's Robert McCall go head-to-head with the Italian Mafia. He reunites with his Man on Fire co-star Dakota Fanning and director Antoine Fuqua, who has led the franchise since its inception. The film is marketed as the last of a trilogy, but Fuqua hasn't completely written off the possibility of a fourth film. He says, I believe this would be it. We've both talked about it in that way, but you never know. Obviously, if Denzel wanted to do another one, I would as well. I don't see it, but who knows? The action flick knocked off Barbie in second place. The Greta Gerwig directed Juggernaut expected to gross $13.8 million over the holiday weekend. First of all, it is a wonderful series that Denzel put together with Farquhar with the Equalizer to the point where, let's see, Queen Latifah has her version of Equalizer on CBS. And the first two that I've seen, I've not seen the third installment yet, but the first two I've seen has just been excellent. Well, it's Denzel, but at the same time, it's the whole package of Denzel and Farquhar as the director and that type of team. Big fan. Big fan. I like the character. Let's see. It was the first one where he goes to the Russian crew that also deals in prostitution. So he, meaning his McCall character, had become friends with one of the prostitutes. And so he was saying to her boss, her pimp, that this is $9,500. Take this, and I want to let you know that she's out the game. And of course, the guy denies the money. And during this time, McCall is going through the sequence of events of how he's about to take out every member in that room. So in his mind, you see him premeditating his moves, what he's going to grab, how he's going to take this person out, and it's brilliant, and it works. So just to see him do it again for the third installment, and once again, Dakota Fanning, you go back to the movie Man on Fire when she was a child, then obviously she's an adult, to be reunited with Denzel, I think is a great way to maybe temporarily end it. Because like Farquhar said, you just never know. So I'm looking forward within time to see the third installment of The Equalizer. And the man got moves. Don't be wrong. You know, it's very quick. It's not like he's extending the legs and kick like that. No, you're too old for that now. This man's in his 60s. So I don't know if he could barely walk. So he got these little jab and punch moves that happens. It's all to the body and things like that. So yeah, that works, Doc. Fan of it. Make it do what it do. Let's see here. Okay. Oh man. Let me get some more of this cold coffee. Like I said, I get it. I get it on about the coffee thing. I get it. Let's see here. Let's see. One more thing. Be right back. I know I do a lot of stopping here, but I must be right back. Hang on. Okay. Oh man. So again, looking forward to seeing Equalizer 3. And there's certain people that just deliver all the time when, say, for example, certain movie actors, and they just, it's going to be a good performance when they are part of something. So that's always a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Oh man. Let's see here. What's the story? Hang on. I gotta get the story here. I don't know why people do what they do, but I think it could be peer pressure, or obviously it's like, okay, that happened to her or him, but it won't happen to me type of thing. Let's see. Where can I find that at? Here we go. A Massachusetts teenager died after he took part in a viral social media trend known as the One Chip Challenge, which the teens. Hold on a second. Damn it. Yeah, I'm reading it from my phone, but I don't like when the advertisements pop up. Okay. The One Chip Challenge, which the teen's family believes contributed to his untimely death. Sharing the details of her son's death with NBC 10 Boston, Lois Woloba, mother of 14-year-old Harris Woloba, said the teen's family believes he died as a result of the challenge after he ate the extremely hot, spicy Pocky chip at school and became sick afterwards. After eating the chip, Woloba, a sophomore at Doherty Memorial High School in Worcester, at the time of his death, was picked up by his family from the school and reportedly started feeling better. He was later found passed out by his brother just before basketball tryouts around 4:30 p.m. that evening and was taken to the local hospital where he was pronounced dead, his mother told the outlet. While results of the autopsy are pending, a cause of death has not been confirmed. Following Wobalaw's death, the public schools is offering grief counseling, emotional support for students and staff members. The Paki Chip Challenge, which is promoted on the company's website, tests an individual's ability to eat the chip and hold out on drinking any liquids to limit or relieve the burning sensation. How long can you last before you spiral out, the company asked potential buyers online. The chip maker's website also warns the adverse medical effects after eating the chip and insists that it should only be eaten by adults. Additionally, Paki advises those who eat the chip to seek medical attention if they experience difficulty breathing, fainting, or extended nausea. After touching the chip, wash your hands with soap and do not touch your eyes or other sensitive areas, the brand said online. So you're going through the legalities of the whole thing. The chip offered this year by the company, according to the website, contains the Carolina Reaper pepper and Naga Viper pepper for a truly twisted experience. The spokesperson for Paki told the Today Show last year that the company takes safety very seriously and have worked hard to ensure our products are properly and clearly labeled with allergen and safety information. Yeah, that's deep. So what can I say? I think that, yes, it is great that they, meaning the company for the chip challenge, has done that. But I don't know. Barbara Jean, I smell a lawsuit. Yeah, I smell one too. Yeah. He is the executive director of Crisis Intervention / Victim Advocate at Solution and Resources. He has committed his life to provide immediate comfort, aid, assist families, individuals, and communities in the wake of violence and or traumatic events. The man who would not let Chicago down. Please welcome back to Baseline, and a happy Saturday morning to Pastor Donovan Price.
Yeah. Let me the Beat Street logo from last year or last week is still there. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I meant to update it. Yes, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. They got the panel.
I wish changing the crib was cleaning the crib was that easy.
Nice.
I feel plain today. That's just kind of feeling I have today.
Well, nothing wrong with feeling that, man. How you doing, Pastor?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. This was a very, very lucky to be up this early. You know, but I
understand. The floor is yours.
Wouldn't miss. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Give me a second.
Take your time, dog. Look, I told people before. Look, on the West Coast, don't even bother trying to get to the show. Look, you're still in bed, in general. But the West Coast people, I love you, but I'm not looking for you to come on at 5 a.m. in the morning. So, dude, look, I understand. Once again, I thank you for the journey that we're taking together. So, look, get some no-dos. So I'm drinking coffee right now myself. So thank you so much. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but whenever you're ready, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, yeah, man. In any case, yeah, I got you. Here we go. The statistics, first of all, they're up there somewhere. Shot and killed 12 in September. We're in the ninth day. Shot and killed 12. Shot and wounded 58. So 58 in 9 days for a total shot 70. 70 people in 9 days shot here in Chicago. Homicides 13. So the summer, which is from basically Memorial Day to Labor Day, there were 194 people shot and killed, 908 wounded, for a total of 1,102 shot this summer, with 218 people who lost their lives this summer alone, including several children. So far for the year to date, it would be shot and killed 412, shot and wounded 1,757. So total shot this year so far 2,169, with a total homicides of 455. And actually, that puts the numbers at this point significantly down from the past 2 years, which is interesting to me. I wouldn't have felt, I felt down, felt that they were down. I mean, you know me, I can tell about the amount of sleep I get, but they are down from the past 2 years. I think shootings maybe a little different than last year, a little higher, but like 5 or something like that. I'm not sure, but definitely the numbers are lower, and the summer lower. So summer numbers are way lower.
So when you see this again, it's shock to the system. Sounds like, Pastor, when you talk about the numbers being down, when traditionally we mention about the numbers being escalation or maintaining a certain wavelength. Now you're seeing it going down. So how does that make you feel overall to see that happen?
First thing comes to my mind is I hope these organizations, maybe even politicians, don't celebrate, don't claim that it was their programs or anything that they did that caused this to happen, even though it's possible that it is. But I'd still say that the randomness of it and the details of it, the dynamics, one might even say, show that it's not stoppable. It simply has a strong ebb and flow. It could be built by anything. One of my theories was the armed robberies with these young men. So the crime has changed, perhaps. And this is just one of my theories, which I don't, that just goes off of kind of gut and brain a little bit, but there's no number crunching involved. And that's the some of these guys, a lot of these guys that's out here with these guns, robbing and stealing, would be shooting if they were, you know, on the south side or the west side or something like that. But, you know, that's just me.
No, but I would go to that analysis. You're right. And when you see a tempo change in what's happening, then you wonder why the tempo change is in effect. So you are correct. We've seen the style of violence or crimes, because like anything else, okay, he's doing it, I got to do it too. So if they were right, they weren't shooting, they'd be doing something else. So there's something else now is robbery. You know,
Plus,
it's get to the point where that's happening.
Plus, the shootings don't benefit him. Actually, puts the young man in young lady in more danger. Whereof these robberies, these random beatings, like the poor rideshare driver yesterday, day before yesterday, he was beat by girls. Then you know, it shows that there's a certain level of satisfaction that these offenders are getting in that level of violence, which kind of alludes to the fact that it's possibly, as we know to be totally true, a certain level of anger built up, a certain level of frustration built up. Now, I know for a fact, I looked at a couple of these young people walking down the street who walk down the street by themselves, and they look sad, they look tired, you know, and I'm not saying that they're correct in their actions under any circumstances. However, they look tired. And I remember a young man I had who blew his head off at the top of the stairs while his mother was at the bottom of the stairs. And everyone afterwards in his family said, yeah, for the past few days, he'd been walking around going, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this shit. And the reporter asked me, what do you mean? Tired of what? What did he mean by that? And I said, tired of having to deal with life in a war zone. And for some of these teens who are actually trying to do good, trying to make it, trying to get their job and go to work, trying to go to school, trying to get out of the hood, as they say, it's difficult because you might be their bigger targets than we are. because someone sees someone of their age, they're going to go for them immediately. So the pressure is amazing, among other things.
You know, I always mention you when I have conversation with my mom about your contribution to working with people under traumatic events. And one of the stories that stand out, and I was referring to her about that, when you told about children going to school who have guns to protect themselves, not necessarily violent people or violent children, but these have to protect themselves. So could you expound upon that a little bit more? Only because of the fact that we hear about the shootings and the violence, but not about the fact that, again, being a child, it's just it's not easy just being a child in general, and adolescence and going to school and just everyday life and everything else. But now you compound it with a war zone, and they get guns to protect themselves.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, the first thing it speaks to is the preponderance of guns. I once had an 11-year-old tell me that he could get a gun easier than he can get candy. And so these kids they have access. They have, first of all, they have fear, and that fear leads to a quick access to guns, which I'm sure if you're in school age, then you know who the people are to get a gun. Sometimes it doesn't cost much. Sometimes they'll give it to you just so you know if we need it. But the ones they give to you for free are probably have more bodies on it than you could ever imagine. The kids don't think that way. But that's one thing. But the fact is that even the good kids now have to have a certain level of bad in them, have to have a certain level of gangsters in them, have to have a little something in them. And so they have these guns. My nephew, not to give his business out there, but not to either. He got a gun charge and just possession of having a gun. And I know he's got that gun purely for perfection. He plays semi-pro ball. You know what I'm saying? And he goes to work, manager at a local restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. And yet he had this gun. And I know exactly why, and I almost couldn't say nothing, because if I were him, his age, I would have one too. But we have to at some point realize that the culture and the world, as silly as this sounds, it has changed. There's not, I still hear some folks saying, man, we had all this, we had gangs. I was in the gang when I was young, you know what I'm saying? We had all these, we had problems, we had drug deals, we had this and that. I'm sure you did. We had cancer then too. We had sickness and flu and all of that now, but we didn't have COVID then. Now we got COVID socially, we got COVID culturally, we got all of these. And these are things, when I mention COVID, these are things that seem regular, but they'll kill you. And now just walking down the street, sitting at your desk in a storefront place, walking from the car to the house, a doorbell ring. And I'm naming all the things, of course, that have happened.
Yes.
All of these, and that doorbell ring a couple of months ago with that kid, that wasn't the first time that I've experienced that. Somebody ringing the door and then you think or whatever, and you open it and that's all you remember. This week, of course, unfortunately, and I'm changing kind of the topic of the kids with guns, but I had not this week, last week, but I had a 4-year-old. 4-year-old was shot just in the car. His mom and dad, beautiful folks, loved them. For a young couple in the hood, they are unreal, uncanny. So this 4-year-old gets shot. He gets shot in one hip, through his abdomen and out the other. So when I got there, we, the commander and I, he took me up to the family. They were just transporting the kid from the emergency room up to his room there in the hospital, and I rode with them in the elevator, actually. First of all, I wanted people to know that's the proximity I get to these. I mean, and you know, in the elevator with a 4-year-old who just been shot. Can't beat those memories. And watching him look around, and the nurse asked him something about, ready to go to the room or something like that, and all he said was, "I'm scared." And that's kind of heartbreaking. And not only is it heartbreaking, but I don't see that not coming back up unless he's in immense therapy, which may not show that he needs it now. When I ask his parents, they said he seems okay, and it's not their fault. They just don't know. I'm eventually, now that I'm very close with the family, I'm going to slide it in there some kind of how. But when you see that, what is his likelihood as an older kid who has access to guns, who had been shot when he's 4 years, what is his likelihood of not saying, yes, I'll take one? And so, there you got that too. And by the way, young kid, University of Chicago, he's out the hospital. He got out the hospital. I took his mom and dad that day when he got shot said he loves Spider-Man and motorcycles. And so I feel so sorry for all the kids on the south side near the Doty Road Walmart, because if children were looking for a Spider-Man, there were none in the store, because I bought all of them. I bought everything that looked like it had a Spider-Man. Right, absolutely. That looked like they had. I took him to him, and his face lit up. But then I thought he was a little not violent, but a little, with the way he played with the toys, a little more aggressive than I thought. But his parents didn't seem overly concerned, but he was a little different. And so I made a phone call and told Brandon Johnson's people, I said, it's a 4-year-old here. We all heard about the 4-year-old getting shot. He likes Spider-Man. Somebody better get down here, if it's not Brandon himself. Somebody needs to. I didn't command them, but somebody needs to. And within 3 hours, they had somebody down there, the deputy chief of safety and security, the head violence person in the city, came down there with a Spider-Man within 3 hours.
Beautiful.
And unheard of.
Yes.
And then the next day after that, he was released with a slight limp that they said would go away in a couple of weeks.
That's good.
Yeah, so a miracle, boy. In the meantime, that weekend, I had seen a 6-year-old shot, an 11-year-old shot, under questionable circumstances, followed by probably one of the worst sights I had ever seen on Saturday night of last week. And I only saw for a second because they rushed him to the hospital, even though the child was obviously dead. And that would be a 6 or 7 months old in their little bouncy thing, dead, with a, let's just say, powdery substance under the bounce thing.
Okay.
And so that definitely sticks in your head. But it's been an interesting week, and all of that stuff adds to the preponderance of young people. And that's, now there's a preponderance, but just wait.
Well, when you hear stories like the 4-year-old and the embracement of him liking Spider-Man and making the call to the mayor and having representative come out there within 3 hours, that's saying a lot. And hopefully that type of connection that you have can continue. Hopefully won't get jaded. Hopefully won't get stopped, because they need that. And not only him, but unfortunately future others that, when they were able to take time for them. Not everybody is so lucky to have that happen. And it does make you think, Pastor, he's scarred, to say the very least. And again, if we talk about giving him some sort of psychological time for down the road for him to talk about it, or talk about it now, to get the healing of the mind, not only the body, but the mind to go, then the process is now from the standpoint of trying to start healing not only the body and the mind and the soul all together. So I hope it's one of those things where he's not one of those quote unquote victims that becomes a statistic and not do a follow-up on.
Well, I've started to say, let's just hope he's not one of those victims that becomes a victim of his victimization. And, and I can't stay with them all.
Right.
But his parents, I consider dear little young sister and brother, just a great group. And so hopefully I can stay with them and let them know the importance is better if you do than if you don't, type of thing.
Well, it makes sense to me. And again, we applaud the work that you do and you just do it. One question before I let you go, Pastor. If this was not your calling, if it never came by your way, what will you be doing? If you had to project yourself into an alternative, I guess, metaverse, if you were not Pastor Donovan Price in a situation, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'd be the one person in the world still giving full service gas and giving you full on pump 3, washing your windows and checking your oil. I'd be the one person, and I would try to make a business of going around the world to gas stations and making sure that people understood that there was a greater level of service that you could have while acting to your petroleum heat needs. So that's what that was my goal. And then all of a sudden, I'm at homicides.
I did not know that. Were you going to use like the uniforms back in the day with the cap and the service cap?
Absolutely.
Oh man, with Donovan on the side of your shirt.
Yes, and I would install the little bells on the ground. That when you drove through, it go ding ding. I run out there, and giving a tribute to like Mantan Moreland or Scatman Crothers. I'd run out there and be like, "How you doing? Good. Let me see it." By that time, I'm already wiping the window. How you doing, bro? What you need? I get it right, kid, because I love handy service. Handy service, that's my name.
I quit. You had me at Mantan Moreland. I'm sorry, Mantan.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, boss, how you doing? Good morning to you. Let me shine your shoes. Let me shine your windows. Right. Oh, good God, I sure am hungry.
Right. And they get nickel. You be like, "Oh, thank you, sir."
Oh, thank you, sir. Right.
But no, I would probably be I was always a minister. I mean, I was always into that because, like I said, when I was 6 years old, I started studying to be a priest, and that's all the way through grad school. But probably in the music business, pretty heavy, because that's where I was, and I was one of the few people among my constituents who was able to reinvent himself and continue doing music at a huge level when everybody else was kind of older and retired and out of work because the major labels, downsize, radio downsize to some fake bulls that they are into now. Radio, I was just thinking about it the other day and just kind of shook my head at how horrified I would have been if this were radio. What they have now were the existence back when we was rocking and rolling, with the whole, an insurance company sponsors, a 6-hour radio show, or a mortgage guy. And so he ain't talking about current events and really having a good time with the folks. He got folks calling in and talking about how they lowered their mortgage. Are you freaking kidding me? That's why there ain't no entertainment that lowers the level of relaxation in folks. And one of the reasons that we have the societal issues that we have is because of entertainment's need for constant finance right now. But I would be heavy in the music industry, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm very biased, of course, because I'm news oriented in what I do. So it pains me from time to time, and I haven't listened to terrestrial radio in years, but I know somebody's going to be doing something, then they reach out to me and say, "Hey, Base, I'm going to be on such a station. I'll check them out if I want to support them." But coming from a news background that I come from, it pains me now listen to news, not on traditional news stations, but say, for example, a music station that has somewhat of news in the morning. Good morning. This is a newscast. A man was shot on the south side of Chicago. He's 24 at the University of Chicago Hospital. This report is brought to you by Arm & Hammer.
Right. And then
I mean, one story if you're lucky.
Yeah, well, no, now if you think about it, it's actually 7 o'clock here on the south side of Chicago is where I'm sitting. So wherever you sitting, I hope it's sunny and bright. Today's news stories from the Arm & Hammer newsroom is saying,
Right.
you know, it's deep from the Arm &
Hammer newsroom, right?
Like I'm just sitting on a box of baking soda giving the news.
Right.
Rather big box, I might add.
Yeah, you and me both, Doc. Exactly.
Definitely a Costco level thing.
Yeah, you gotta get the extra strength.
Right. I'm going to be going there today. I've never been there, but they have Invicta watches, which are Costco.
Oh man, get out of town! I love Invicta. I got a few myself.
I just got my first one. It's
welcome to the club.
55 inch. I had to go hard or go home. My large brothers is big with a few of them. And
nice.
And if I didn't have to go out of town tomorrow, I would have another one before I went out of town. You know, I go to Washington, D.C. tomorrow.
Oh man, I've been in Invicta watches for the past 7 years, and I try to get me a watch when I can. They got the best watches I ever seen. Have you seen the trailer for the movie coming out in 2024 called The Book of Clarence?
Yes, I saw that. I won't say anything about it. I had to watch.
Oh, you won't? Okay.
It was just for a black person to say they're not gonna say something about something means they got a lot to say about it.
We understand.
You come in the house, your mom like, I ain't gonna talk about what you did in school today. You know it's going to be talked about. But no, with that, I saw the trailer and I was confused. Part of me was extraordinarily upset. But I still left the space for me to be wrong in terms of what I thought I saw on the blasphemy to a Christian and other things. And you know, when I see stuff like that, I think to myself, you know, you would have done nothing like that with Islam. First and foremost, and so. You know, why would you just come up with that Jesus out there, I could do that myself, and then he goes to a fake life of doing it. I don't know. At the end, he might find Jesus and Jesus, the Holy Spirit might come to him or something, With a movie, you can go lots of ways.
Yes.
But in and of what I saw, it was kind of like, what the hell? And, but, I realized that that's a early trailer.
Yes.
Which sometimes doesn't really, reflect what's going on.
No, you're right. It says here it's going to be released January 12th of 2024. The synopsis is a down on his luck man embarks on a misguided attempt to capitalize on the rise of celebrity and the influence of the Messiah for his own personal gain. Stars Lakeith Stanfield in the title role of Clarence. So you're right. It can go various ways. I was intrigued by it, but like you, I'm trying to keep an open mind to see where it would go if I decide to go see it or watch it or wherever it comes to streaming service, whatever. But I am interested in that. So when it comes to religious stuff, I get interested to see what the interpretation is. So you're right. It could go in the direction of the character finding enlightenment, realizing that he is wrong for his sins to try to portray himself as a Messiah. We don't know, but I think like anything else, when you're part of a project like that, you just got to be careful of the outcome.
Right, definitely. As you personally, and also at listening to your description now, written description, I kind of think you sound like every preacher, just about all the preachers. That sounds like a wonderful definition. Like, what is a preacher? I didn't know up until now, but I just happened to see this written down, or almost to Christians as almost the call of God for a Christian to get out of that life, quit pretending.
Yeah.
So there's hope in it. It comes off kind of rough around the edges, idealistically, but there's definitely hope in it, and I allowed room for hope because I did half watch the clip, so I'm gonna watch it again and see what I see in it. So
sounds like a plan. As always, thank you, Pastor Donovan Price. More information about you, where can people find you at, sir?
You can find me at the nearest gas station with a flip sign that says full service available. But you had to realize this will be a mobile business,
Yes, it will be.
Half squeegee will travel.
It's like, that's all right. I bring my own Windex.
Right. Just like a crackhead.
Right.
And
Crackish behavior.
Crackish. You got to stop your crackish ways, brother.
Right. Stop your crackish ways, Lord. Right.
But Twitter, of course, twitter.com or no, X. I am very active on Twitter, X, and on the social media X. I don't want people to think, take this sound bite and be like, I'm half squeegee will travel. You better know that.
Yeah, it's this joke, and the X thing is a joke too. It's like, I told you he was on drugs.
Right. I'm very active on there. Also, I'm on Facebook. I try to get there and post. And then www.solutionsandresources.org. And I thought of a couple of things. One is we've talked about my son, I believe. Have we?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, my son is a massive YouTube star. He's 35 years old. He's a millionaire, huge house, et cetera, and he's huge. Does skits and comedy type stuff about Chicago life, the darker end of Chicago life, the ghetto end. But he's a comedian extraordinarily. You'll find the most extraordinarily produced and creatively ever. And average, he's got over 150 million plus view videos.
Ooh-wee.
Almost everything he does gets 1 million views or at least 500,000 in 24 hours. And so he's been doing extraordinarily well. But this, I heard he did it before, but this latest video includes my mother, 87 years old. I try to send you the link.
Yeah, please do.
And I just, even though my son and I have those differences that dads have when their son is this age, especially if he got a lot of money.
Yeah.
But, so I don't watch his stuff regularly. But this time I was showing somebody and I happened to click on it. And my mother had mentioned it, but an 87-year-old mentions a lot of stuff. So she had mentioned it. And then I just happened to look at it. And then when I saw my mother, brother, you'd have thought I was somebody had said I won the lotto. Just to see her white hair and to see her trying to get her acted on with my child, and was really funny. And it's a really funny segment, but it's about prayer. And then at the end, he did something very rarely. He came on. Let her come on with her real voice and such, which he doesn't do. And she said, leave your prayers in the comments. And so that was something. And I plan to pray for everybody in those comments if I can, just go down them, even though it's thousands. But to see her, 87-year-old lady, try to get her acted on. And then when she's like, what happened? Trying to get her to do that. Trying to get her to remember her lines for even 30 seconds was I understand a challenge. All she had to do was repeat what he said. He'd say a sentence like, I'm going to the store. And she would be like, as soon as he finished, she'd be like, I'm coming from the church. And they said they had to keep doing that. Him and the cameraman were just on the floor. She said, but I didn't remember that. And so it's a blessing, and I'll send you the link.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Absolutely. Well, as always, Pastor, thank you for sharing, and thank you for doing what you're doing. Yeah, please send me the link About your son, I had no idea till you mentioned it today. So please do. Absolutely looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And thank you for messing up the little sleep I get on a Friday night every week. But I will continue to do it as long as I've got a crackish way in my body.
It is more than my pleasure to do that. So look, you ain't the only one on the sleep thing. So thank you so much as always for being with us. We'll do it again next weekend. So thank you so much.
And coming up 1 week, I'm gonna interview you.
All right, cool.
That'll be good. I'm gonna grab a microphone, stick it in my face, and I'm buying a new one too. For myself.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm trying to save up. It's a modeling mic, which are huge now, but it's a expensive modeling mic, which means it hits like the Telefunkins and the Sony's. So it's about $1,500. But
that's serious.
I'm building a new studio to record the moms and the people, the victims of violence, into one long thing.
Well, again, continue to do a great service and give information out there. And whenever you want me to come on your program, let me know, and I'm already there.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. Now I'm going to interview you on your program. I wanted to interview you on your program so that the people can get a feel for you. You know, person behind the mic, nobody know anything about them until they come up on charges.
You had to worry about that, Doc.
No, not you.
Yeah, that's you, right?
Especially WBMX and WGCI. That's what I'm remembering. My childhood. Right. I enjoyed Bob Wall. You know, I thought it was great.
Yeah, Robert Harrison. Yeah,
did one morning. What they say in Baptist church, that sweet morning. Just God.
Ooh, one sweet day. Yeah, Doc. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And but yeah, we got a lot of beautiful, wonderful stuff because your show is a beautiful, wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir.
All right. Pastor Donovan Price joins us in the second hour right here on BaseLine. Yeah, it's always cool to get into that, why I say that deep dive of what's going on in society when it comes to what he does and helping families, and never easy. Never easy. Let's see. All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning on BaseLine. Who's this?
Good morning. Is it time for the Adventures of Waldo?
No, it's not.
Okay, thank you.
That was Walter Cannon, who is the Anti-Show, which I call him Anti by his real nickname. And so he's been trying to get on the show for probably the past couple of years. And I told him no. And I would not have him on the show. He went through a segment called Where's Waldo? Him being Waldo. And I would not sully or spoil this program by having the Anti on during this segment. I don't understand why he does that. To me, it's a colossal waste of time. Let's see, Barbara Jean, he craves attention. That's right, Barbara Jean. That's right. And I said before, how much attention do you need? He's another radio guy like myself. A jazz host. I formerly did jazz myself at the old WBEE, AM 1570 Harvey, Chicago. So, now I get it. I understand where he's coming from. How much attention do you need? And this is what gets on my nerve about him and other people. If you crave that much attention as Barbara Jean this type, then get your own thing. Start your own show. Go on social media. There's no more excuses. No more excuses. Get your own thing. But no. You want to come over here and try to get on my thing. No, Lord. No, sir. God is not that cruel to me. So, yeah, go start your own thing. I will support him if he started your own thing. But he hasn't done it. I don't know if he will or not, but do your own thing. And I keep telling him, so you can't tell me there's no God. I pray to Jesus and hoping that he get his own thing so I can harass him, so I can be the anti on his show, but he doesn't. He don't want that smoke. So what he comes after me, your humble host. I don't mess with anybody. You know, here comes Anti. That's my nickname for him, Anti. Because he is definitely the anti-show. As always, please take time to be a part of the program and comment in the comment section in the peanut gallery there. You type in, or again, be so bold and be so daring, not like Anti there, but you yourself, and call in at 312-597-2106. The Instagram, I am the base. Contact me there. Also, of course, more important thing, right here on this YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. I mentioned earlier in the first hour about saying make sure you like, subscribe, and share was my time again working with Lee Michaels and my brothers when we did the 6 Guys and You. And we aired at 7, was it 8, was 9, hell, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on Facebook Live. And so in the beginning of that, Lee, being our fearless leader, would be the moderator, and Dr. Ron, Mike Love, Reggie Miles, Sammy Mack, who was at the time going by Buck Wild, we were the rest of the crew, and we completed the 6 Guys. And so it got to a point where Lee was taking time off to concentrate more on his limousine service. So yours truly became the backup moderator. And to the point where a lot of people thought it was my show because Lee was out a lot, which, not to rejudge history, but I'm rejudging history. And I would always tell people to subscribe, like, and share to Lee's SNN Street News Now. So I find myself doing it now for my own page, subscribing, liking, and share for all of you out there to do so. So that reminds me of that when I say that. So I'm waxing nostalgia. And speaking for myself only, I thought that it really was a good show, the 6 of us. I really thought that we were onto something. When my own mother tells me that listening to the show, just being in the hallway from time to time, you know, going throughout the house, that she thought it was special. So when your mother tells you that you're doing something right, then you're onto something. And it's a damnedest of shame that we could not continue that. It would have been nice to see in my mind where we would have been at this point right now had we continued on, because I really felt that to see 6 African-American males go over topics of the day, of the week, and expound upon them, whatever topic they want to bring to the table, then go from there. But that's laid plans. And looking back to a degree, I kind of miss it. I kind of miss it. And I put it like this. For me, what brings me to doing this from the standpoint of communication and podcasting and broadcasting is concerned, I love what I do. Since I can remember doing broadcasting in terrestrial radio stations, I love the love. I love what I do. But if I'm not loving it like I should, then there has to be some sort of change from that capacity is concerned. And not because I wasn't loving it, I just got worn out being the moderator. I remember at one point I was filling in for Lee like 3 months straight. And so based upon that and other behind the scenes inner workings with the other guys, it just would have been nice had we all continued on. So yeah, but I reminisce. see here. So where's the story here? Hope your Saturday morning's off to a good start. Hopefully, we could become your tradition, starting off your Saturday mornings as we build that here. Let's see. Aren't you tired of seeing Ryan Seacrest's face everywhere on TV at this point? For those who don't know, starting in 2024, right after seeing his face on Dick Clark's New Year's Rocking Eve, Seacrest is replacing Pat Sajak as the host of Wheel of Fortune after Sajak retires from the beloved game show. The Live with Kelly and Ryan alum announces to the news on Twitter, now X, on Tuesday, January 27, confirming he will host alongside Vanna White. The future Verb position on the series has been questioned in the days leading up to the announcement. Instead of bracing themselves that White would take over hosting duties, it sounded like the most natural conclusion. Fans were surprised with Seacrest hosting yet another show. Instead of those rewarding headlines, she suffered publicity about wanting a raise in her renewal contract after 18 years without one, which saw her replaced for the first time over a half century. She contracted COVID during her negotiations. Now that her future as even a letter turner is in jeopardy, fans are already replacing her with Maggie Sajak, as if White is someone who is a hanger-on of the show and not a key element. A source told People that for years, Vanna was told, if you fight this, you will lose your job. You're lucky to have the job. And when people tell you that for so long, you believe it. Added before adding that White is now ready to fight for her future. She is really, really a sweet person. She deserves so much more. There's something that should be under investigation if true. It shouldn't be allowed to be this publicly unprofessional without being brought to task. But it's hard to hold the powers that be responsible when the public consensus is just as bad. Why should she make as much as Sajak? One person comment. Because she has little or no real function and rarely speaks. The board is automated for the bonus round and could be throughout the game, making her as useful as a dead battery, another person responded. Not only should she be getting paid, but Vanna White should be the host of Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so like you and others, excuse me, when I got the word that Seacrest would take over for Pat Sajak, I'm like, again, the guy got everybody's gig. So I don't blame him. I just blame the people who keep on giving him these gigs. His agency and agent, they have to be rewarded handsomely because the man keeps working. And he's always replaced legends. If you go back to his days on radio, I think he still does the radio morning show for Kiss FM in LA, if I'm not mistaken. He placed a legendary guy named Rick Dees. If you are of a certain age, Rick Dees used to be the host of Solid Gold, the music show that was syndicated through markets. And he was the host of that. I mean, he was, meaning Rick Dees pretty much put Kiss FM on the map locally there in LA. Had been there 24, 25 years. And all of a sudden he's replaced by Ryan Seacrest. So in the pantheon of broadcasting, single-handedly, Ryan Seacrest has replaced all these legends, which does not leave room for anybody else. I would love to see somebody else get the Wheel of Fortune host position. But obviously, it's one of those things where they see him all over the place. Well, have him come over to to the wheel. Now, the whole thing with Vanna White, some people were saying online that maybe, just maybe, that she should retire alongside with Pat Sajak, who Pat Sajak would take a role behind the scenes in his latter time and contributing that way after he steps down as the host. But No, because Vanna White's career is not aligned sync to sync with Pat Sajak. As some people said, maybe she deserved to be the host of the show. Now, if that was the case, then that would be put into play. Then we had a conversation about Seacrest out being the host of the Wheel of Fortune coming up for next year. So, what does that say about management having faith in her or not? It could be to the point where she could be forced out because now you have a younger host that's taking over, and you look at Vanna White, who is older, nothing wrong with that. But do you want that, or do you want to just start fresh and buy out her contract, get a younger Will Turner, or the position could be gone altogether and just call the letters automatically? So, I, from a fan perspective, yeah, I've always liked Vanna White. I mean, what's not to like? And to ask for a raise the first time in 18 years is, I think, beyond admirable. But if you're going to fight her on this, seems like they're going to. I don't know. I first time in 18 years, if you're asking for a raise, I don't think that should be a big deal. But like, how dare she ask for a raise? But yeah, it's been 18 years. Oy vey. So what can I say? Today's cartoon of the week is The Jetsons. Meet George Jetson. Just those words will prompt viewers of a certain age to join in singing the show's catchy theme song. This popular primetime cartoon show features the Jetson family living a utopian future. People live in housing in the sky, work a 3-day work week, drive aerial cars that look like flying saucers, and have incredible conveniences that leave them with plenty of leisure time. George, his homemaker wife Jane, their children Judy and Elroy, and a robotic maid named Rosie, and a talking dog named Astro or Rastro. Airing first on ABC in the 1960s, the series was resurrected in the 1980s, with more episodes produced for syndication. Yep. And like you, watching the reruns of the Jetson was always cool. I've always said that if you think about it, the Jetson that paved the way for today's technology. Zoom calls, look at phone. I mean, the whole thing. So it's not a stretch that some of these people who invented were probably influenced by science fiction or cartoons or the like. It was an article years ago in the Sun Times talked about the Motorola flip phone. Man, I love that phone. That was the best phone I ever had. The flip phone was nice. So Motorola said the flip phone, so I'm saying that 8 times fast, flip phone was inspired by Star Trek, the first original Star Trek, with their communicators. I mean, they flip the communicator and go back to to Starfleet Command. This story that I know about, in 1963, Maury Amsterdam and Pat Carroll each filed $12,000 lawsuits against Hanna-Barbera, that produced the Jetsons, for a breach of contract, claiming they had been cast and signed for the roles of George Jetson, Maury Amsterdam, and Jane Jetson, Pat Carroll. Although their contract stipulated that they were going to be paid $500 an episode with a guaranteed of 24 episodes, that's a full season of work, they recorded only one episode before being replaced. Now, several sources claim that the change had occurred as a result of sponsor conflict between Amsterdam's commitment to the Dick Van Dyke Show and Carroll's to make room for Daddy. The case had been closed by early 1965. In an interview in 2013, Pat Carroll indicated that the court had ruled in favor of Hanna-Barbera. I did not know that. So I kind of see it from the standpoint of course, VO voiceover work. But as we know, they were not the featured voices when the show aired. And of course, conflict of interest when it comes to sponsors and things like that. Yeah, I can see that too. But again, the cartoon of the week is the Jetsons. I always like watching the Jetsons. What bothers me as a fan is when, let's see, so we saw the reruns continue to air in reruns, and it was the complimentary piece to the Flintstones, as we know, in the Stone Age. Also a primetime cartoon. I think it was the first primetime cartoon going back to the Flintstones, and you fast forward to the Jetsons. So years later, I want to say in the 80s, 90s, they did the Flintstones meet the Jetsons. And a lot of people who do these voiceover works, your voice changes as you, of course, progress in time. So as a voice guy and sound guy myself, it just didn't sound right. It sounded okay, but it didn't sound like how they sound back in the day. And that's to be expected. It would have been different had they caught them in the timeline of when their voices were, I wouldn't say stronger, but when they caught on to the characters and was able to pinpoint their accuracy when doing these voices. By the time they got older, I don't know, there's dentures in your mouth or things like that where your voice changes and your pattern changes, your cadence changes, and that just happens. Hell, you just get old. So there you go. So what can I say? I have been of the mindset that when you're able to watch these cartoons, it's takes you back. It does it. It takes you back to when you were younger, as they say, a simpler time in your life. You got the cornflakes, wherever your favorite cornflakes were. You set up against not too close, you won't get blind. Sat near the TV set, and you cut it on, and you just enjoyed yourself. So to have those type of memories come back here in this program, and one day we'll probably just do a show about cartoons. We've done it before, but if you have any ideas of what you want to see as the highlight or a cartoon of the week, you can contact me by going to Instagram to I Am the Base. Go there and inbox me via that and give me your ideas who you want to see as cartoon of the week. And so as I give you the backstory to how these cartoons got started, you can I go back and forth here on the comment section or call in and go from there. So beautiful thing, beautiful thing. As always, I think I might jump on Facebook Live real quick to do an announcement. Let me see if the time permits. But other than that, again, I thank you tremendously for what we're trying to do here, for taking time out of your busy schedule, getting your schedule started. Hopefully create a new tradition here on BaseLine and with you on Saturday mornings. Join us every Saturday morning. Again, that's 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, and the Pacific time, of course, is just too damn early for 5 a.m. I don't expect anybody to come on board unless you just happen to be up. It's just too damn early. So what can I say? If you can take time out to join us, make sure on this YouTube channel, you make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Again, you contact me on the G or IG, as they call it, what I don't know what to call it, Instagram, damn it. Instagram, I Am the Base. Make sure you type it in. You find me. Messenger, inbox me through there, and then we'll go from there as well. Let's see. Barbara Jean, enjoy your weekend. Same to you, Barbara Jean. And you be well and be safe as well. Absolutely. So again, I might jump on Facebook Live just to make the announcement again about the switch, and then we'll take it from there. So we'll see if time permits. Continue to be safe. Continue to be sound. Continue to be healthy. Most importantly, above anything else, continue to be loved. Long live the peace. Oh, real quick, damn, I almost forgot. I'm here wearing the jersey and everything else. Tomorrow, my beloved Bear come back in full force. They go up against the Packers tomorrow. That's a 3:25 p.m. Central start. here in Soldier Field in Chicago. Bear down, my people. Bear down. Now, long live the peace. Long live the funk. More power to you. And be kind. Go Bears.